Hey y'all, it's Ollie here. I kind of wanted to talk a little bit about something that I have been thinking about for at least a month now. So it started off with I was watching some video about like a cult or whatever, and they were called the Finders, and I was doing some research on research, and they were called the Seekers and the Finders, and I saw that at first, and I thought, well, that's stupid. What a repetitive, like, name. Like, it's repetitive and redundant. But the more I've thought about it, and not just like in the terms of like a cult or whatever, but just in terms of like words themselves, I really have come to see the stark difference between someone who is a seeker and someone who is a finder. So I'll break it down to you in my understanding. If you don't understand, sorry. But anyways, someone who is a seeker, right, is constantly looking, right? They're seeking outside themselves, inside themselves. Doesn't really matter where. They're just looking. Wrapped into the identity of the seeker is the path of seeking, right? But when we look at a finder, this is someone who it's built into their archetype of finder to find that which they seek. Whereas with a seeker, there is no resolution innately promised in the identity of seeker, right? Just the search is promised for someone who is a seeker. But someone who is a finder, it's not about how long it takes or how many places they have to look. What is built into the identity is that they are someone who finds what they're looking for. It is a certain resilience that is embedded into the archetype of the finder. That it's in their nature is to find. And so I really have been looking at how to consciously shift my mindset from one of a seeker to one of a finder. And I've found that the difference between the two is that the finder has faith in themselves to find the answer. They know that their destination will be arrival at an answer. Whether it takes a minute, a month, a year, or a lifetime, they will find. And so that is definitely a mindset that I had been kind of trying to adopt already, one of resilience, one of knowing that if I put my mind to anything, I will figure it out. And so, but I realize that is the finder mentality. It's not letting the search continue forever. It's seeking until you find, and embedded into the structure of the finder is resolution, is answers. And it doesn't mean that you become super overly attached to this one specific way of answering your problems. That's kind of just like obstinance and insanity, right? But that resolution to find is what gives inherent difference to the finder over the seeker. And I realized that the two are so closely related that for many people, including myself, when we first hear seeker versus finder, we kind of think it's the same thing, right? They're both looking for something. But resolution does not come in the nature of the seeker. One must shift from seeker to finder to arrive at the destination of found. And so both are resilient, but and both have their time and place, for sure, I believe. I don't believe we get to finder without seeker energy, but there comes a shift eventually in seeker mentality where you seek and seek and seek and seek, and there's no answer still. And it's tiring. It's exhausting to live a life constantly seeking. And I think sometimes we have to seek first for what it is we're trying to find. But then once you've honed in on, I'm seeking peace. Well, now we have to shift to that I am going to find peace. And so a finder is looking for the ultimate solution. They're not just looking to look, right? Not that the seeker is necessarily just seeking to seek, but there is this element of lostness and wandering that I find comes with the self-identity of a seeker. And because that's how it was for me. I was seeking enlightenment for a really long time. I didn't really know what that meant. I just knew I wanted to know more, and so I was seeking everything, and it eventually turned exhausting, because I didn't really find anything. I just saw a lot, but I couldn't quite determine what it was I was trying to find. I was just seeking something desperately, and after years of being a seeker, I only recently discovered what was missing in my seeking journey, and it's the ultimate resolution into finding what we're looking for, and that determination. A finder is someone who, if they are looking to find peace, they will look for it everywhere. And the funny thing is, when you do adopt that finder mentality, you'll find that you do find little elements of peace, or whatever it is you're looking for, all around you in the mundane that you take for granted. Or if you are trying to find joy, you will continue to look and find ways to find that joy in the things around you already. And if you look at the things around you, up, left, right, down, whatever, from every which way, upside down and through, and you can't find the joy that you are seeking there, the finder doesn't stay and say, well, I guess I'll just keep looking at this stuff that doesn't seem to have any joy in it and keep seeking a way to find joy in this. No, the finder says, okay, I looked everywhere here and is nowhere to be found. I have the goal to find what I'm seeking, so I will go elsewhere and find it that way. As far as external circumstances go. But yeah, I just kind of wanted to point out my own musings of the difference between seekers and finders. And this is obviously not all encompassing or conclusive, but I would love to start this conversation with people on a similar path and see who has what to contribute to this understanding of seeker versus finder. So I hope everyone out there today, you find the answers that you've been seeking and work on shifting that identity within yourself from seeker to finder. Not the person who is looking, but the person who discovers. And I actually have just been reading this really great book that I put off reading for so freaking long for no discernible reason. I started reading Atomic Habits by James Clear after 2 different people recommended it to me. And it talks about shifts in outcome come from shifts in processes or habits, which come from shifts in identity, at least long-lasting ones, not temporary ones, because temporary shifts in habits can come from willpower, sheer determination, etc., but true lasting change in habits comes from a lasting change in identity. And so that which we subconsciously identify with affects us profoundly, whether we're aware of it or not. And I do see it now, that I have this knowledge that I did identify really as someone who was seeking, looking for answers everywhere. And like I said, it can get exhausting after living your life this way for many, many years. And I have now entered into a part of my life where being the seeker no longer serves me. And I do think that being a seeker serves people in certain parts of their lives for certain amounts of time, and it is the best option for you then. But where I have progressed to now, being someone who identifies as a finder rather than a seeker is what's going to serve me more. So I'm not constantly digging through endless information. I'm not just seeking to seek. I'm not seeking to see what I ought to seek. I am seeking with the intent to find. The goal is finding. The seeking is just how you do the finding. And it's funny how it relates to that book. The seeking is the process, right? The finder is the identity, and the outcome in a way. So when we want that internal to align with the external, when we want outcomes to align with desires, we have to change identity. And this gives us the blueprint for the process to have the outcome, the external, become a reflection of what is inside as identity. And I only finished a couple chapters of the book, so I still have a while to go in this understanding of identity change and how it affects the process of habits and outcomes. But really, I have seen this be displayed in my own life, and so I just wanted to share that with people. I hope you all have a great day, and I hope you find something meaningful today. Bye.